What if I told you the same dating app strategies that help create a $100 million business relationship could transform your dating life? Today, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how Alex Hormozi met his wife on Bumble, and more importantly, the proven principles you can use to attract high quality women who could change your life. Now, for those of you who are new here, my name is Austin Dunham, and I've helped hundreds of professional men transform their dating lives through the use of online dating. Just last month, one of my clients, who is a tech executive in San Francisco, went from zero quality matches to dating a high value woman who's now both his girlfriend and a business advisor, which really inspired the idea of this video. Now, most dating coaches will tell you to do these cheesy pickup lines or play endless mind games, but after working with hundreds of successful professionals, I've discovered that high quality women respond completely differently to men who understand the business of attraction. So moving forward, I'm going to be making business references and using business lingo to break down the exact profile strategy that attracts ambitious, high quality women, the conversation framework that builds genuine connection while maintaining high status, and lastly, the qualification process that can help you identify a woman who can genuinely add value to your life, just like Layla did for Alex. And the best part, these aren't just theories, these are actually proven strategies that I personally have used to help men just like you create genuine connections with amazing women. So whether you're looking for a relationship or potentially a business partner, these principles can work. So Layla actually broke down how she met Alex within this video called From Bumble to $100 Million Business. So we will be reacting to this and analyzing the dating strategy as a whole.
So Alex and I met on Bumble because I've been on Tinder and I hated it.
So let's consider the fact that Alex, who was definitely in a development standpoint at this point in time, he decided to use dating apps, in particular Bumble, despite trying to build an online business, despite being very busy within his life. And this goes to show the importance of actually having the relationship aspect of your life held together, even if you have everything else going on for you. Now, Layla also mentioned here, which is pretty funny, that she used to use Tinder and she absolutely hated it. I can only assume and imagine why, which is why she decided to use Bumble instead. Now, in the previous video, we actually broke down the best dating apps for professionals, and I did mention how Bumble, out of all the apps, tends to lean more professional versus Tinder tends to lean a little bit more casual. So this is probably why she chose that. Now, also my assumption of Alex using the dating platform Bumble is just so that he can have leverage and scale. With this business-oriented mindset, I'm sure the last thing he wanted to do was to go door knocking, which is the equivalent to cold approach. Now, from a business context, if we break this down even further, I'm sure Alex understood the first important thing, which is who he wants to attract, which in business terms, which would be your ideal client, which also plays a part into the dating app selection. So the first thing you have to ask yourself, if we're following in line with the strategy, is who are you trying to actually select for? Who is the type of woman who we're trying to attract? Do we want that potential business partner? Do we want just a cute, feminine, submissive, attractive woman? Or are we looking for something a little bit more casual? Once again, this will dictate the app that we actually decide to go on. Now, in Alex's case, it seems like he was searching more for a business-oriented partner, which then completes his ideal client research.
And so I got on Bumble where the girl had to message the guy first. I messaged him. I don't remember what I said, honestly. But then I know he immediately.
So when it comes to Bumble, that is correct. Women do have to message first. And I personally have found that whenever a woman does message the guy first, it tends to lead more likely lead to a date setup just because she's initially invested within the start. Now let's move on to his profile strategy, which obviously wasn't shown or mentioned within this, and we can only make assumptions at this point in time. But let's keep in mind, she did find Alex either attractive enough or through his pictures and the way he presented himself somewhat intriguing. That's why she sent him a first message. Now, when it comes to your profile strategy, this is the business equivalent to marketing, aka setting up the ad so that we can get those leads and then get those conversions. And so, as with any business, marketing is definitely very important, as with sales, which we're going to get into. But going back to Alex's strategy, my assumption is that he probably had gym pictures. He also probably had hints of his business and or what he was working on, which also attracted Layla, because if you don't know her background, she was also in the gym. She did a few competitions, and to my knowledge, she actually had a coaching business. So based on his marketing alone, we can see why Layla was actually attracted to him given that she sent him a first message. Now, when it comes to your photo selection, one important thing you have to keep in mind is the framework in which I call points of leverage. Basically, every picture that you present needs to showcase some sort of leverage that falls in line with your personality, your skill set, or what is working for you. In Alex's case, I'm sure he had a ripped, lean physique. So more than likely, he probably had shirtless pictures, which would then play a part into his points of leverage. For you, you might not be as ripped. So what you have to do is look at your style, look at maybe the composition of the photo, maybe look at your sex appeal, maybe you have access to scarce resources, maybe you live a dope lifestyle and have traveled well and often. These things have to be presented whenever you are setting up your marketing or your ads for any dating app platform. Now, on the vice versa, what do average guys do? Average guys are presenting no leverage whatsoever. They just go and take a mirror picture, no sexy facial expression, nothing about it stands out, which is why most guys will not get results. So when it comes to your points of leverage, be sure to at least always present 2 degrees of points of leverage in every single photo. That way it separates you from the average guy. Now let's take a look into his conversation strategy, which will be the equivalent to sales.
I don't remember what I said, honestly. But then I know he immediately messaged me back and was like, let's get on the phone. And I was like, I like it, because I like a guy who takes action. We don't have to do this bullshit back and forth on the app. I hate this shit, I'm too busy. He called me and
all right, so his strategy is what I call just straight guerrilla, just straight on the attack. As we saw here, he actually built no rapport with Layla whatsoever. The first message, or at least second message, he said, let's get on the phone. He probably already knew she would be into him based on her profile, or that could have just been his strategy as a whole. Maybe even outside of Layla, he was sending every girl, let's get on the phone, let's get on the phone. And he was playing into the law of averages, meaning that for every match, at least one will say yes if he sent it at least 20 times or maybe even 10 times, right? And so it seemed like Layla complied, and this usually happens because there either is a frustration or a pain point, meaning that all her other conversations, they were going nowhere, too many guys weren't escalating whatsoever, and thus they just have long conversations on the app. But Alex, he struck when the iron was hot. So basically, his conversation strategy is simply direct and to the point. Now, I do not recommend you do this all the time. It's actually better to build a little bit of rapport on the app first, max around 5 to 6 messages, and then we can move to the next part of the funnel. However, in Alex's case, it tended to work out.
And he was like, let's basically have an expedited first date. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, let's do a 20-minute phone call. I can just ask you all the same questions I would normally ask you on a first date. So then by the time we're on the first date, we already like kind of know each other and it's not gonna be awkward. And I was like, I mean, I'm down for it.
So I think this specifically worked with Layla because she might be a little bit more logical minded. However, the only issue with Alex's approach here, if he was explaining in the way of, you know, let's do this, let's do that, is that it tends to lean a little bit too logical for most women. Most women will see this and either be freaked out, creeped away, or sort of triggered to some degree. Not triggered, but confused as to why this guy is so eager to talk to me. This game perhaps would have worked maybe 10 years ago. However, once again, you don't actually want to present too much eagerness and take her down the funnel that fast. Now, speaking about funnel, as we see here, it's going from Bumble to immediately a phone call. From a business perspective, this will be the equivalent to a setter call, in which you kind of have a first date just on the phone, kind of see if you are interested, kind of see if you are compatible to any degree.
We talked for like 20 minutes. I thought he was really interesting. And then he said, do you want to meet me for Froyo tomorrow? And I said, sure, what time? 5 o'clock, okay.
All right, so he then set the first date on the phone, and I assume this is all within the same day. First message, phone call, to now we're going on a first date tomorrow. Once again, Alex is very direct to the point, a little too logical. However, the dating funnel that he is using could actually work out. App, phone, then immediately a date. Me personally, I prefer app, Instagram, phone, then date, just because I can leverage more attraction triggers in there, such as social proof, such as my Instagram. I can build a little bit more comfort through Instagram and have less rejects and flakes. However, my strategy is optimized for volume and scale. However, Alex, it seems like he was just trying to win one time. And unlike business, when it comes to dating, all you really do is have to win one time, especially if you're looking for a particular type of person.
I got there first, and then I remember he walked up and he wasn't smiling. He was actually like super like, I was like, oh shit, what? I found out later that he saw my tattoo on my back and was like, oh no. Basically judging me for the tattoo, which I hate, and I got when I was like 18 and not sober. Then we proceeded to go in. We're standing in line for froyo. He's still not smiling. I'm grinning. I'm like, hi, I'm Layla. You know, how's it going? You know, I think he's cute, you know, and I'm like, I don't know why he seems kind of cranky. So we get ice cream, go outside, we start eating, and he like downs his ice cream. And then I remember just like within 2 minutes, he was like super nice. And I was like, oh, I think he was just hungry. I want to say like 15 minutes into having the froyo, we just like really hit it off. Like it started like flowing really well. We had a really good jive. And so then he's like, do you want to go on a walk? So we ended up walking for 4 hours. And we had
Really good implementation of first date strategy from Alex here. It's not necessarily recommended that you don't smile and you look upset when you do meet a woman on the first date. However, what he did do well is after froyo, go on a walk. And so whenever you do go on first dates, you want to follow the rule of 2, which means minimum 2 locations, minimum 2 hours. And so it seems like Alex is doing that here. And whenever you do take a woman outside of the initial spot, subconsciously, it feels like they have actually known you longer, and it makes them a lot more comfortable. However, we're in a unique situation where it seems like Layla was more so trying to qualify to Alex versus Alex trying to qualify to her.
We had so much in common because we both really liked business. We also both really liked fitness. And then I found out that we were both Persian, or both of our dads were from Iran. Then he
Boom. So that is the qualification process explained in just a few sentences right there. Their dads were both Persian, so they had that relatability right there. They both love fitness, and then they both love business. Not to mention, alongside with that, their hobbies, the vibe of the conversation, even potentially their worldviews, all qualified them to have that sense of shared compatibility, which because of that, I'm sure made Alex more invested within her on the date itself.
He actually had a dinner with 2 of his friends planned for that night that he was barbecuing. And I thought it was BS and he had another date, but they called him and he had it on speaker, so I knew it was true. And he had to go pick up like stuff to grill. And I remember I was like, all right, cool, like go have fun at your dinner and like, we'll talk later. I got in my car and I like called my roommate to tell her how the date went. And then like there was a knock on my window and I looked and it was him. He's like, do you want to go grocery shopping with me? Like it's another like extra 20 minutes we can get together. And I was like, sure. And I thought it was really sweet, right? I was like, that's cute. And then that.
Okay, once again, we're seeing how Alex is very persistent and in some cases very eager, but because the attraction and compatibility was so high, Layla didn't mind whatsoever. I'm sure she was thinking about continually seeing him the day anyway. So because of that, this was actually flattering to Layla. Now also with the qualification process, it seems like Alex himself valued more compatibility, compliance, and intelligence over looks. Now I'm not saying Layla is not attractive whatsoever. She actually is more attractive than this video. I think she got some work done. But that's one thing you guys got to keep in mind too, is when you go out on these dates, or perhaps when you're sourcing the lead, is that you want to look for signs of compatibility and look for signs of compliance. How easy they actually make it for you. Is it like pulling teeth trying to converse with her? Does she have excuses whenever you try to set up the date? All these things are going to be a lot more important than just trying to find the hottest woman possible. So guys, just to recap everything from a business perspective, here's what you need to do. Number 1, know what you want and where to find them. This will equate to your ideal client. Once again, I created a video kind of breaking down every dating app for professional men, the top 5. So be sure to check that video out if you need some more help with that. Then also leverage your presentation to attract them in the right way. This is through marketing or your ads. And remember the point of leverage framework. Up next, we need to create a dating funnel and move the hot leads as quickly as possible while still building a little bit of rapport, but not too long. You can go from dating app to phone number. You can go from dating app to phone call to date. You can go from dating app to Instagram to phone number to date. There are many to choose from. And then from a qualification process, be sure to qualify or disqualify when needed. And this is when you notice signs of incompatibility or just a lack of compliance. Now, once again, I've helped hundreds of professional men implement all these concepts that we discussed in this video. And if you want to work with me one-on-one to implement some of these things and actually have a proven game plan behind it, click the link down below. Let's hop on a free consultation call. Let's see what you're doing right now and how we can actually help you improve. That way you attract the woman you actually want and desire. The link will be down below in the description, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.